Hey everyone, and welcome to the Bottom Shelf Horror Podcast, where a couple of cheap bastards talk horror over a couple of cheap drinks. Join us as we talk about the 3 Jordan Peele horror movies. Anyways, just a fair warning, there will be spoilers throughout this podcast, so if that concerns you, consider yourself warned.
Yep.
This includes Nope as well. We will be actually talking about a few spoilers for Nope, right?
Oh yeah, we'll be getting into a little bit of the details. Like, we're not going to try and stop ourselves. Basically, everything is on the table. Nothing's off limits. We're not going to try and check ourselves if we're accidentally getting into spoiler territory. So it's just a laid-back conversation where we discuss and compare these 3 Jordan Peele movies. So just to give you guys a quick summary of what we're actually going through for the episode. Obviously, like we said, we're going to be talking about the movies. Starting with Get Out, Us, and Nope, all written and directed by Jordan Peele. And then we're going to talk about the drinking game we made for each of them, just kind of recap what our experiences with them were, how easy, how hard they were, in case you didn't watch our episodes on them. We're just going to give a brief recap, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go into
the drinks that we made as well.
Yeah, which, speaking of the drinks we made, we have one of them here right now.
We'll get onto that in a bit.
We'll get into that, yeah.
Besides that, we're going to be talking about the movies themselves.
Yes.
Along with Darwin Awards for the movies as well.
Yeah, so we used to include the Darwin Awards in our drinking game videos, which, I mean, it was good for what it was, but we felt like we wanted to get our drinking games straight to the point with no extra filler. Just give you the drinking games, and, that's what people click on. That's what they want to see. They're not there to watch our review, watch our discussion, watch a 20-minute video when they're just trying to get a few rules for a drinking game.
Yeah.
So we decided to make a podcast format and just, be able to have a laid-back, long-form conversation, like we said.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start off with recapping what we've done over the last few days and get in with the... Should we start with the drinking game discussions?
I guess let's start with Jordan Peele as a whole, I guess.
Himself?
Yeah.
What about Jordan Peele?
So I guess just him as a whole, like how he came into the horror scene. How much Mad TV did you watch?
I watched Mad TV at lunch all the time in elementary school.
Yeah.
Go home at lunch during the lunch hour, and that was the first thing I'd turn on because it was always on.
Yeah, it was always on. Whatchamacallit? Me and my friend Carlin always used to watch Mad TV. It's weird. I think for a while, maybe it was on like Fox or something. For like Saturday nights or something, like right and around Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
But somehow in between that, it turned to like, what was it? On like Comedy Central or something like that, like Mad TV.
Yeah, it was
like,
on Comedy Central.
And it was like at noon.
Yeah.
And like I remember specifically in like grade 7, grade 8, I always went to my friend Carlin's house and we'd turn on like Mad TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like you always go to your friend's house and that would be what you would watch, honestly. Mm-hmm. And that was a great show. Mm-hmm. At least when we were kids.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how it holds up nowadays.
Some of it holds up. Yeah. I wouldn't say a lot of it.
I've never went back and watched it, so actually I don't even know how much holds up. And then obviously he got, I'd say, a little bit more pushed into the mainstream media with Key and Peele, his show with Keegan-Michael Key. That obviously launched his career as a comedian, as a comedic actor, I guess. But then after that is when he kind of turned to horror and made his directorial debut with Get Out, and it cemented him as a super successful modern horror director.
Yeah, just out of nowhere pretty much.
Even just after one movie, let alone the next two that he made.
And then people were just like straight up excited for his next movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now it's like every release he puts out is just...
It's like, I'm going to be there opening day pretty much.
Exactly. Which is crazy to think off of one movie that's what happened, and now it's kind of a phenomenon.
It's not the exact same way, but maybe with Barbarian. I forgot the director's name. Zach
something.
Yeah.
Don't know it off the top of my
Kreger or
head.
something like that. Zach Kreger sounds about right.
Maybe.
But anyways, it reminds me a little bit of him coming from like Whitest Kids You Know, that background.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of like made comedic sketches or skits before.
Yeah, and like doing horror just randomly, like complete from comedy to horror. It's 2 complete different emotions.
But it's also very related in the sense that
they seek a reaction. Like
yes,
and whether it be like laughter or fear.
Yeah, they both try and make you feel something specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just tug at your heartstrings, but like, I don't know, like they work so well together, even though it seems like they're on opposite ends of the spectrum, which is why horror comedies are also great.
Yeah. Anyways, now I guess we can move on to, I guess, the drinking games.
Should we do the drinking games first, or do you want to start with the drinks we made? Because, well, elephant in the room, we have them right here.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah, let's
And that was
talk
the first
about
video
the
of
drinks
the
we
week.
made. Yeah.
So, the drinks we made, I mean, this is the one Alex made. What did you call it?
Emerald OJ.
Emerald OJ. Yeah. It's because it's green, emerald. OJ, orange juice. In this case, it's Sunny D, but same thing. But if you didn't catch on, Emerald and OJ are characters in Nope. So he based it off that. I thought it was a super clever idea. And it also tastes good, and it's easy to make. So it's perfect drinking game if you're wanting to watch Nope. Or any of the Jordan Peele movies for that matter.
Speaking of drinks that aren't easy, I guess, Taco made an alien brain hemorrhage.
Yeah.
Which is basically a shot mixed with, what is it? Not
it has
peach schnapps.
It has peach schnapps.
It is peach schnapps.
Blue curacao, which yours includes to make it green, green and yellow.
Yeah.
But yeah, peach schnapps, blue curacao, Bailey's Irish cream, and grenadine. And it's super cool looking shot, which is why I wanted to do it in the first place. Not because it's convenient or easy to make.
Yeah.
But it's called Alien Brain Hemorrhage, and that name alone describes it so perfectly on how it looks. And it looks fucking cool. So, yeah, that's why I chose to do that drink. It's not a bad shot, but don't go asking your bartenders to make it because
they'll hate you.
It takes like 2 minutes to pour, and nobody wants to pour a 2-minute shot.
Yeah. I can only imagine it's just like, hey, let's get some shots for my friends, and you're sitting at a table with 6, and you're just like, let's get some alien brain hemorrhages going around.
And then bartender has to pour.
Yeah, and your bartender
slowly.
has to make like 6 drinks in 10 minutes, and it's just going to slow down the pace of everything, and your bartender's going to hate you.
I guess if you're going to ask for it, tip very, very well.
Yeah.
And up front, not wait to pay your bill. Tip up front so they like you right away. But yeah, those are the drinks we made. Ultimately, the drink Alex made is definitely the one you should go to if you want convenience and like just to casually pour and sip, right?
Because it's so much easier, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, going on to the drinking game discussion, just recapping what we got there. For Get Out, we had 10 rules. We always have 10 rules, always starting with death and screams, cries, and yells.
Yeah.
In this case, both ended up with 7 sips, which was normal for death, but for screams, cries, and yells was insanely low.
Oh, yeah.
Way lower than average. And it also, just because it was so low, put a damper on the overall total of the drinking game. Like, I think there was only 3 rules in total that had double digits.
Yeah.
So, like, the third rule was Chris is on his phone. That only gave us 7. The fourth rule, Chris is put in an awkward situation. That gave us 16. Hypnosis is mentioned or performed. That gave us 6. Super low again. Made appears 10. Skin colors brought up 11. Chris is taking pictures or photography is mentioned 5. Smoking's brought up and again 5. And sunken places seen are brought up. That's only 4. So it was super easy. Only gave us 78 total sips.
Yeah.
What sticks out to you?
Most? The obvious is the screams, cries, and yells. Basically, having nothing is the main thing. I guess the scenes where Chris encountered the maid a few times is kind of the main thing. There's some crying in there, awkward situations combined with that as well.
Yeah, that was actually the highest total we had
at 16.
At 16, yeah.
I guess there's 3 rules that aren't single digits.
Only 3 rules, which is awkward situation, the maid, and skin colors brought up.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the only ones in double digits, which is, I don't even know. It doesn't happen. It's an anomaly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it's a super easy drinking game. There's not a whole lot to say on it, to be honest. Just definitely want to pair it with another movie.
Yeah, definitely.
But was there any other rules that you thought of for that movie that come to your mind?
maybe whenever Rod's on screen, just because Rod's such a great character.
When he's on screen, yeah. Because that also doesn't happen too often, but he's like the comedic relief. And actually, he's a good comedic relief. I like Rod.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that could be a rule. Maybe just to have 11 to make it a few more drinks maybe. But he's not on screen all that often.
Yeah. I feel like Rod's like... He's the kind of person, like, he's almost like aware he's in a horror movie, the way that his character's written. He's like, just don't go to that house.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's actually smart and actually, like you said, aware that it's not a normal situation or something's fishy. It's not acting like, something's
and, like,
wrong.
Especially after, like, he's like, it's been, like, 2 days, he's not back yet. And, like, he starts, like, calling, not answering his phone. It's like, oh, yeah, no, something's definitely wrong. Like, nobody believes him.
But, yeah. I guess let's move on to the next drinking game we made. Started with a super easy, couldn't get much easier drinking game, to arguably the hardest drinking game we've ever made. Maybe there's a couple, but I'd say top 5 for sure. Us. So what were the rules we had for Us?
Us. It starts with a solid 34 drinks with that.
That's just insane.
Yeah. Scream, cries, and yells at 22. The tethered communicate at 9. When you see a mask is 16. When you see a rabbit is 25. When you see scissors is 31. If you see a flashback or hear of one, that is 6. Finally, a low number.
Yeah.
But we're back up to 20 at whenever you see the tethered. If you hear about somebody else's family having nicer things, that's 8. And whenever fire is seen or mentioned is another 8.
Yeah. So, I mean... How many rules do we have here with single digits? 4.
Is it 4?
1, 2, 3. We have 4 rules with single digits, like under 10 sips. All the rest are over 20, except for 1, which is 16. So it's close too. But yeah, so insane amount of drinks, like we said, 179 total drinks, which is pretty much 6 full drinks. It's 1 sip shy of 6 full drinks. Yeah. Which is nuts for a drinking game. For one movie alone.
Also, I apologize of something I just noticed here.
What's that?
If our green screen is acting funky because of our drinks, and that's about it.
Yeah, you might not be able to see the drinks we talked about, actually.
I promise they're like green. They're like...
they're
not emerald green, they're like swamp green.
Yeah. But for the name, it made sense.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll give you a clear shot in it. You might just see you might see the green behind us right now.
Yeah.
Here's a shot on the cup, and you can clearly see.
Yeah. If you can turn off the green screen, turn on the green screen quick. Done.
We'll do that, just so they are aware, and I'll do that when we actually talk about the drinks too, if we need to.
Back on to this drinking game that
specifically the
tries
rules
to
that
kill people.
stand out.
Rules that stand out. The biggest one, obviously, is death at 34.
Yeah, and basically not every time we see a death, but like so mmany scenes where we see more than 5 deaths, we have to mercy. Because that's just the rules we play by and recommend you do too.
Yeah.
Because if you really want to pause the scene and count all the dead bodies that we see in the boardwalk,
you're A, taking away from the movie, and B, you're gonna die.
Exactly. I don't even know how many deaths there are in Us actually, like how many dead bodies we see.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna mercy it and it still gives you 34, it's an insane number. So we definitely recommend you mercy it.
Yeah.
Because
So like for example, off the top of my head, like 3 families died?
3 families died. Yeah.
Because there was the Tyler family. There was
doppelgangers.
The doppelgangers. Spoilers. We already said something.
Yeah.
And then the other family's doppelgangers. The main character's doppelgangers.
The Wilsons.
The Wilsons doppelgangers. Yeah.
So that's 3 families. Not to mention all of the random people in the streets that we see dying.
Yeah, there's just bodies upon bodies
yeah, exactly.
on the, what do you call it? The boardwalk. Boardwalk, yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of mercied for death. And speaking of mercied, rabbits was another one that was mercied almost all the time because you see them in their cages, you see them in the...
like roaming around the underground tunnels?
That's what I was... My mind went blank for a second.
Oh, my dog's excited.
That's okay.
You can continue.
Yeah. So, 25 rabbits. Not 25 rabbits, 25 drinks for rabbits. And that's, if we counted each individual rabbit, again, we'd be dead.
Like the first scene's probably like what? I'd say
at least 50.
I'd say 50, because if we like think of it like 5 by 10, 50, sure.
At least. So it's an intense number if you don't mercy it. So again, mercy it. And another one worth not mercying, but paying attention to mercy is scissors.
Mm-hmm.
Gave you so many drinks.
Yeah. I mean, what, scissors and tethered alone were like 50?
50 combined, yeah.
50, more than 50? Probably more than 50.
More than 50, yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that 5 rules had over 20 sips is pretty unheard of.
Yeah.
For our drinking games, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Long and short of it, it's fucking hard.
Yep. This is a hard mode drinking game for sure.
Yeah. And we did come up with a couple rules that we scrapped. One that we mentioned in our video was 11-11.
Yeah.
Because there's so many, like, hidden abstract ways that 11-11 is shown.
Yeah.
Like the Golden Gate Bridge with the Twin Towers, like you said in the video. The baseball game was tied 11-11.
Yeah. Also, the Twins were playing in the baseball game. Like the baseball team, the Twins.
Right, yeah. And speaking of twins, the daughters, twins, were wearing black flag shirts. So they
like
had 4 lines.
Yeah.
So it, again, it could be interpreted as 11-11. So there's just
clever,
so many
right?
ways that it could appear. And if you were just staring at the screen looking for all of them, you wouldn't be paying attention to the movie, which is why we didn't include it.
Exactly.
And another rule we thought of was ballet being brought up. But I think you said it only happened 4 times by your count.
So it didn't happen a lot.
It wasn't worth including, even though it would have lowered the numbers a little bit. But not much.
Where's
really.
the fun in that?
Exactly. In this case, go all out for, at least for us, because it started off with 34. Might as well keep that train rolling.
Okay. Do you want to move on to Nope?
Yeah, but let's go on to Nope. Again, we didn't include the totals for how many each rule gave us, just because we want to keep it as spoiler-free as possible with the rules. And if we tell you, for example, with death being the first rule, if we tell you how many deaths there are, it's giving a minor spoiler. Like, obviously, it's not going to ruin the movie, but that's why we don't include them in our drinking game videos, because we don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, especially since it came out this year is the main thing.
Exactly. But we might get into a little bit more spoiler territory on this format, like with a podcast format.
Yeah. Just
because it's a little more long form, and if you're still listening after 20 minutes, I mean,
thanks,
and also you're probably expecting spoilers, so
yeah, I guess
at this point it's not my concern about spoilers.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get on to the rules.
Yeah, so death, like I said, being the first one, I think it's probably average, like we mentioned in our video.
Yeah.
Like, there's one scene in particular where it's mercied.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about spoilers, so that's the plus. Where it basically just sucks up the entire audience.
Yeah, in the festival, gets sucked up by the UFO or the alien, and that's 5 drinks right there, because it's mercied. Mm-hmm. So it probably gives you like 8 to 10 drinks, I'm guessing.
I'm just trying to think of other like deaths in between. There's
the TMZ guy, the director.
Yeah. There was one more.
There was the Gordy incident at the beginning.
Oh, the Gordy incident. I'm not sure if people died from that, but I also know there was the father as well.
The father, the father too. So at least 8.
Yeah. So there's at least 8.
Yeah. And then, moving on to the second rule we always include is screams, cries, and yells. Have to have that rule in place. Mm-hmm. It's a horror movie after all.
Yeah. I don't think it was too much. Like, you didn't hear a lot of the main characters, like, yelling or crying all that much.
Yeah, OJ was pretty, like...
monotone?
Laid back and monotone. Yeah. Like, nothing really fazed him too much. He kind of just... What's the word? Stoic, maybe? I don't know. But, yeah, he didn't scream around. Yeah. Emerald... yelled and screamed a little bit more. I'd say a lot more, actually. She might be the reason we even have a lot of screaming, if there is a lot.
Yeah.
She's probably the main reason there's a lot. But moving on to rule number 3, it's whenever technology malfunctions. So like phone screens going crazy, the power goes out, their surveillance cameras stop working is the main one. It happens in a lot of different ways, and I'd say it happens fairly frequently.
Yes.
Not like an insane, like, no, it's not giving us 20 sips, but it's probably double digits.
I'd say it's definitely double digits for sure.
Yeah. Like maybe 15 around there.
Yeah,
I
give or
don't
take
know for
15.
sure,
Give or
but-
take 15, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, if we're averaging all the rules, 150 sips in a drinking game is kind of bad. But, like, I don't
if
think it's
it's-
going to be quite that bad.
No, it won't
Yeah.
be that bad. But anyways, moving on to rule number 4, it's whenever title card showing a name appears, which shows all the animals' names. We talked about it in our drinking game video. It's 7 or 8 times maybe, if that.
I think quite a bit less, to be honest. I'd say, like, give or take 5.
Yeah, I don't even remember. There was a decent chunk of horses' names that showed up, plus Gordy's name.
Mm-hmm.
And then that leads us to rule number 5, which is, again, including the animals. It's animals acting out. So whenever they act out of the ordinary, you take a sip for it. This one, I think, is maybe our highest rule. Well, no, actually, not necessarily.
I mean, we'll get into some that I think is a lot worse, to be honest. And we'll get to those in a little bit here.
Yeah, I think animals acting out is just, I thought it was more than it actually is, just because it's a very key part of the story, I think. Like, it keeps the story rolling.
Yeah.
But anyways, another one that happens, actually I think this one happens more, string of flags scene.
Yeah.
This one happens quite often because, you know, we see them at the festival at the Jupiter's
We see him at
Claim.
the festival. We see him on, like, the fake horse, like the decoy horse.
Yep, and then we see them, like,
At the end
in
of the
the
movie.
alien, like,
Yeah, we see
actually
him
sucked up
yep.
by the alien, and, like, yeah, it's even in the movie poster, so it's kind of subtly hinting that it's involved there.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to give you a decent amount of sips in that regard.
Yep. Same with the next rule, which is UFO UAP scene.
Yeah.
Because it's the plot of the movie, pretty much.
Yeah, it's an alien movie.
It's like whenever you see Jaws or Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I mean, except for in, what is it, Halloween Ends, where he just didn't appear until like 40 minutes through the movie.
Yeah.
But it's not
one
like
shot
that.
in.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's, you see it throughout. It's not your typical, like, stereotypical UFO, like a fucking flying saucer. It doesn't look like that. So if you're expecting to see that, don't expect to see it. It's very unique looking, and especially when you actually find out its real form, when it kind of, like, you realize the UFO is not containing aliens inside or anything. The UFO itself is the alien.
Yeah.
And it basically just, like, it shows you that, and I think it looks fucking cool. Anyways, moving on to flashback. This one I think doesn't happen that many times, but it's worth including because it's a staple in Jordan Peele movies, like we mentioned in our episode there. Rule number 9, Jupiter's Claim Festival is shown. Again, it's probably half the movie, a third of the movie is taking place there, so it's seen quite a bit.
I'd say like maybe low 10s, give or take.
Yeah, low teens, like just maybe hitting 10 around that area.
Yeah.
And then the last rule, something related to recording takes place.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
this is probably going to be the killer, I think.
This one is one of them for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because like even like opening scene, Gordy,
Surveillance.
the first place that you see OJ and Emerald is on like a movie set.
Yeah.
So like it happens quite a bit. The whole movie they're trying to capture this
hired the
UAP
director.
on film.
Yeah.
Hire the director who had a camera. TMZ guy has a
Yeah.
camera. Like there's a lot of things happening.
A lot of different scenes that, you know, they cut to, and it's not all just part of one scene. Like it'll cut back and forth, I guess.
Yeah.
So it does happen quite a bit. But I guess the overall difficulty for this drinking game, personal experience we had, like what, like, I guess it's worth mentioning. We've been away for pretty much 6 months.
Yeah.
And when we made the drinking game for this video, it was right after we saw it in theaters, which we saw it like the day or two after it was released.
Yeah.
So we've been sitting on this for like half a year.
Pretty much.
So we want to be transparent with that, I guess, and not just pretend like we just played it yesterday. Like That's not the
Yeah,
case.
we didn't see it yesterday. We don't have a list of rules, so this is basically memory from 4 months ago, minimum.
Exactly. But the totals for the movie, I think it's in between Get Out and Us.
Yes.
Maybe giving you 4.5 drinks, like that nice sweet spot.
Yeah, I'd say like 4.5 maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd say definitely leaning closer to Us than Get Out, to be honest. That's just my thoughts. Because I think it was like, what, 101 difference? I think it was like
101 difference
78 to like 179.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be closer to like, what would that be, like 138? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be like closer to 139. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be closer to Us by a hair, but I think if we do get the numbers specifically and like actually tally how much it is, I think it'd be pretty close
It'd be
to
pretty
dead
split.
center.
Yeah.
Like closer to center than it would be to Us, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you think there were some rules for this movie that we could have included that we didn't?
Oh yeah. So I remember when we first saw it, I really wanted to add the rule that when the movie title is said,
Yeah,
but
nope. Whenever nope
you disagreed.
is said.
Yeah.
And the only reason I disagreed is because we had this argument, and I think it only happens like maybe 3 or 4 times at most, where you thought it happened more, and we just couldn't really agree on it, and figured maybe there was some better rules that we could have included that gave us a little bit more drinks. Mm-hmm. So we ultimately just agreed to disagree and scrap it. But another rule that we came up with was whenever a horse is seen, and that one I think we vetoed because it would just be way too hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of horses in this movie. Some like fake. There's a statue of the horse or whatever that decoy is. There's a bunch of real horses. There's a lot of horses. So we just decided to scrap that one. And it's just kind of a basic rule. We thought of some other ones that we thought were a little better to include.
All right. So the movies in general. I guess we'll talk about the movies kind of all at once. So I guess for the most part,
for now,
we're gonna talk about like more or less like the production of the movies, things like that, and like how they're made and everything like that. I guess we're just gonna compare the movies side by side, more or less.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this episode's gonna be about, is more of a comparison of the 3 rather than getting into the plot of all 3, simply because we are doing 3 movies in one.
Yeah.
Normally, we'll do
like probably one
movie
episode
where we'll talk about production, we'll talk about the plot and our overall thoughts on it and everything. But since we're doing 3 movies in one episode, we're mostly going to talk about production and compare the 3 and what our overall thoughts about them are. So, do you want to start off with Jordan Peele?
Jordan Peele. I guess he's a person known for his top-of-the-line production in a lot of his movies.
Oh, yeah.
The main thing that I always want to see in his scripts are very elaborate, I guess, themes and current events and like real-life issues that are currently taking place in America. Oh, yeah. Or I guess the world, but mainly America.
Mostly America, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly relevant there, him being from there, and his own experiences, I guess, taking influence on his movies.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So anyways, I guess we'll start with Get Out for that. I guess the main theme for that is racism, colonization of black people. So like what we really mean by that is like kind of their thoughts, if black people had a mind of a white person, they would kind of be the perfect person in like the mind of a white person, because like they have like all these thoughts of like black people having like physically the best bodies, such as like Olympics, and like being a better golfer like Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And this I was thinking about this actually the other day. Whatchamacall, I don't know what I was doing, but either way, what I thought of the other day is the one scene where they're sitting at supper and like the brother wants to teach Chris how to do jujitsu, and he's like, oh no man, I don't do jujitsu. And he's like, man, if you knew jujitsu, you'd be a beast.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's more or less like referring to like if his mind was like a white person's mind, like his mind, he'd be like unstoppable.
Yeah.
Which I never caught like on after how many watches, but it just kind of shows like replayability of the film.
Oh yeah, there's things you're gonna see every time that you didn't see on previous watches, and I think you're spot on, because they even mention it several times about how physically capable black people are, like stereotypically based on the society's views, like stereotypically they're good at sports like basketball and football and all of that. And I think that's the point that the movie's trying to make, is like they almost make, in the movie they make the white people view black people as like
animals in a zoo,
like a petting zoo.
Yeah.
And like they treat them that way too, because they're like, we just want your body, we don't care about how you feel or your opinion on this. We just want your
it's pretty much they're
attributes.
Just like fascinated by how he's different.
Yeah.
So like he goes I guess during like the family meeting or whatever you want to call it, like everybody's just looking at him.
Yeah.
Like they've never seen a black person before in their lives.
Meanwhile,
like,
there's another black person in the bunch also ogling him. And like
and like that's the thing. Like once he like you see like a quick snippet of whatchamacallit, a bunch of other people, like a bunch of like old white people talking to him, and he's just like showing off his body, like twisting around, like, oh, look at all the things I can do.
Yeah, because he's what's the character's name? I forget. But he's the first. Well, he's not the first person we see with a new
Andre.
brain. Andre, that's
something
it.
Like
I think it's Andre.
Yeah,
but he's the first one we get to like kind of know and see act. He's acting a little off, a little weird, and then we get to see him just all of a sudden flip a switch once the camera flash happens.
And then he becomes Andre, I guess.
And then he becomes he becomes Andre. I think he's still Andre.
I forgot what the actual name is. I think his name was Dre, but I forgot like the actual like person who was in his body rather.
Oh yeah, okay. But yeah, actual Andre, where his own, I guess, mind takes over because he's snapped out of this hypnotism or whatever, and that's like the first character we see where something's actually clearly not right. We already had our suspicions because of how he was acting, but after we see that, it's like set in stone. Okay, yeah, now we know like there's something weird going on.
Yeah.
And I think the concept of this movie and like the overall theme of how they take the brain of a white person who maybe on their last leg, like, or they have a disability, like the blind guy, for example. He can't see anything, so he wants to improve his life by being able to see, so he sacrifices his own brain so he can still have his mind, his own thoughts and everything, and then transfer it into another more physically able body, especially in their eyes. They think, like we talked about, the physical attributes. And I think it's such a unique concept, not a unique concept, it's done in horror before, but the way it's handled and the way it's connected to race and like the whole societal issues in modern time is handled so well, and it's a very clever way to get that message across.
Yeah, I feel like something that's also really clever about the like the artists or the guy that reviews art for a living that's blind, how he just basically wants like Andre's eyes and is like, like people don't get it, like I'm not racist, but all I want to do is just see again. But I'm like, at the end of the day, is it like, I still think it's kind of racist to basically prey on like black people in a sense, right? It's like, so there's laws that are made specifically to like suppress like the lower class, for instance. And if you're suppressing the lower class but you're aware of it and yet you're using those rules to your advantage, isn't that racism?
I mean, yeah, it is.
But it's indirect. But like you don't think you're racist, but at the end of the day, are you?
Maybe him specifically, he isn't racist because like he can't see, he doesn't care about color.
Yeah.
But the acts that he's participating in are
indirectly racist.
They're inherently racist.
Yeah.
So like he's participating and also like encouraging racism by being a part of it.
Exactly.
So he's indirectly racist because of that. Maybe he himself is not, but the actions he's doing are.
Yeah.
And he's just not aware of it. And I guess that's also a lot of society in real world. Like they don't know they're being racist. It's just the way they grew up. They don't think, I don't care about skin color. It doesn't matter to me. Meanwhile, they're keeping a closer eye on someone in a store when they're shopping, or something like that. That's just subconscious.
Subtle. It's just like this guy, like when you walk into a store and just like subtly like, oh man, I don't trust this guy. He's probably going to shoplift. But you're probably more likely going to do that to an Indigenous person, like as we live in Canada, as opposed to like someone that's like white. And of course, that is racist in a sense when you're just
Definitely.
when you're stereotypically like judging somebody based on their skin color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that it does that commentary well in this movie as well.
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
Anyways, should we move on to the theme of us?
Yes.
So Us's theme, I'd say mostly focuses around class, lower class, middle class, upper class.
Yeah.
Everybody wants more than what they already have.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, like the lower class being the tethered, they definitely deserve more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the point that Jordan Peele is trying to get across is the lower class.
Like
in
the people
society,
that live in poverty want more. And it's like, of course they want
they
more.
want
They have
more.
nothing,
Not only do they
much.
want more, but they also deserve more. Like they should get more assistance. And I think that's the point he's trying to make because of how shitty their life is down there.
Yeah.
And then he shows the middle class, like that's the Wilsons family.
Yeah.
They have a vacation home, which I mean, in my opinion, that's upper middle class already. But
yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit run down or whatever. They're still middle class, and they have a shitty old boat. They still have a boat. Mm-hmm. It's just shitty and drives in circles on its own, but they still have a boat.
Yeah, but then they compare it to the other family. I forgot what their name is off the top of my head.
I don't remember either, but they have money. Clearly, they're wealthy. They have a fancy vacation home. They got a nice boat.
The Tyler family.
Tyler, that's it. And the wife, I forget her name, but she's talking about how she got plastic surgery and she clearly has expendable income for fun things that she wants to experience.
Yeah, it's just like she wants more, yet she pretty much has everything.
Exactly. Well, that's what it looks like to the tethered, the lower class. They think, well, in their eyes, they have everything. Why would they have any problems in life? They clearly have all the money. They can fix all their problems and stuff. But at the same time, they do show how they have their own problems. Like, I think it's Kitty Wilson.
Kitty.
She clearly suffers from issues because she's getting a plastic surgery. She's able to afford it and fix her idea of a problem.
Was the Wilson family the, what is it?
Or not Wilson, Kitty Tyler.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, Kitty, she clearly has a problem with self-esteem, mental problems on her own, even though she has all this money, it clearly commentates on that as well.
And it shows also she's very unhappy in her marriage from what it seems like. It's like you can have all the money, you can have everything you ever want, but at the same time, are you happy?
Yeah, exactly. They do a good job of portraying that as well.
Yeah. That money doesn't necessarily make you happy is the other thing, which is poetic in a sense, yeah.
And meanwhile, that's what the lower or even the middle class would think is like, oh, these people have all the money. They're clearly much happier than us because they're not struggling,
right?
Meanwhile, they are.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of the point is everybody's struggling, but he's also making the point that lower class should get some assistance to try and help bring them up,
Right.
And I think he does, again, a good job playing with that theme and just showing it in a unique way with the tethered being attached with the doppelganger effect and everything. It's a unique way, and he does it. It's even more horrific. Out of all of his movies, I'd say this is the most horrific movie.
Oh yeah.
Most horror themed, and it's even kind of a slasher.
Yeah, you kind of get to see you get to see and hear the results of what suppression basically does to a society, especially people that are poor living in poverty. It's you might have availability of things such as just off the top of my head, Christmas presents. I didn't get anything. The Christmas presents that I got basically cut me and made me bleed. And it can be say set in the same concept of society. So for example, people in Canada they have access to safe abortions because they live in the city, whereas people on Indigenous reserves, for example, don't have access to those things because it's a hassle to get there. They don't have money. They can't actually physically go to a hospital. So sure, it might be free, but it's more or less of a benefit that you live in the city as opposed to being just shoved away by the government itself, which is what reserves pretty much did to Indigenous people.
Well, exactly. And yeah, overall, I think they again did a great job with the theme and the way they presented it. Jordan Peele does a great job with that in all of his movies. And I guess, should we move on to Nope? I'd say Nope, out of all three, has the less impactful theme. Like, it's not so much a social commentary.
Yeah, I'd say it definitely has the least impactful theme.
Yeah. For that one, he went more so with the visuals, I think, and like
Yeah.
the cinematography and the sound production in general. Meanwhile, like, it's great in every one of his movies, but I think this one takes a step up in terms of production. But I guess the theme in this one is like animal instincts, trying to control things that you shouldn't even bother trying to control. You know, making money off of spectacles that you think you can control, or
basically,
you know,
like,
benefiting off of people's misfortune. I
exactly.
guess.
Like the main thing with that is like just the Goldie incident.
Yeah.
It's like how they made, what is it, like pretty much a Mad TV skit. Is it a Mad TV skit? Like, it's something along those lines.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure, and which is funny just because of Jordan Peele. But they made like a Mad TV-esque skit about it. Like, they were making fun of it. They were clearly like benefiting off of it. The main thing that it kind of reminds me of is like the whole like Jeffrey Dahmer thing. How people were like upset that the Netflix series came out because the families are still like obviously traumatized by what they did to like their children recent. And like it's still like fairly recent. Like, the Dahmer series came out like this year, but the families, like, when did this happen? The Jeffrey Dahmer things, like 90s give or take. Yeah. So yeah, like, the effects on society can be still be felt today.
Oh yeah.
Like, how soon is too soon? It all depends on like the victims, I guess.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's no right or wrong answer. It's just kind of how, like you said, the victims feel. And on one hand, I get that point of view, but also, like, it's good for society to know these things,
right? Yeah.
So it doesn't get repeated. Like, they always say history repeats itself, but if you get educated on what happened, like, I'd say it's more beneficial than not.
Yeah. It's basically like, don't go off with strangers, get to know them first. But I mean, like, how much do you actually know a person at the same time?
But yeah, in terms of Nope, they basically show this by, like you said, the Gordy incident with Jupe. He survived it, and basically it's like
profit.
He's not like, the whole premise in this movie is don't look it in the eyes, because once you do, that's when it kind of sucks you up. The alien.
And that's the thing with spectacles. Like, if you see a car crash,
I
haven't heard of anybody who like sees a car crash and doesn't look in that direction to see what happens. And like, I remember I got my car window like smashed and broken into once, and like everyone was looking, and it's just like, it's so frustrating, but like, I get it.
Yeah. I get why they're looking, because it's just human nature, but also it's like somebody's suffering. Like, and it's, again, their misfortunes that you're just kind of entertained by, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Like, you might be concerned for them at the same time. You might be empathetic, but you're still looking because you're interested in it.
You can't look away.
Exactly.
It's so hard.
And they do that well in this movie. It's just not a super strong, impactful message for society, I guess. It's just a basic theme that he pulls off well, I guess.
Yeah.
All said and done. So now that we got through the themes of the movies, which he does a great job overall, I think we move on to the acting of the movies, which, again, I think are all top of the line in his movies. So the ones that are obvious is Daniel Kaluuya. He's in 2 of the 3 movies.
Yeah.
Get Out being Chris Washington. Washington, yeah. And then Nope, where he's OJ, obviously.
Not Simpson.
Not Simpson. But, yeah, I guess, which one, like, out of the 2 movies, what do you prefer him in?
By far, Get Out. I feel like in Nope, like, I kind of understand where he's coming from, in the sense that he's, like, supposed to be, like, non-emotional and all that.
He's supposed to be, like, tough and gritty. Not show his emotions.
But, like, you felt a lot more from the character in Get Out, in my opinion.
Yeah. And
like, I connected to him a lot more. Like, he's the main character in Nope, but I felt like his character was just super forgettable.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think he was a better actor in Get Out necessarily. I think it was his character that was written for him. I think the character in Get Out was more intriguing. You could connect to him much more. Whereas in Nope, he was written to be this like tough guy that didn't show his emotions and like, you know, talked monotone, and like I feel like that was written that way because it was the character, and it served its purpose, and he didn't have to like impress us with his acting chops in that because of the way it was written. That's the way I look at it. So I do prefer his character in Get Out, but I think the acting holds up in both, to me.
Yeah.
And I guess in Get Out, another actor that stands out is Betty Gabriel. She played the maid. She, to me, was the standout role in Get Out. Like, it was just she was so eerie and weird, and the way she spoke was very unnatural, and just gave off weird, uncomfortable vibes.
Yeah.
She did a very good
just
job
smiling and crying at the same time.
Yeah.
Just like that. Like 10 seconds she takes to just like cry, but like standing still, so like, you know, there's somebody in there, but just like somebody's knocking but you aren't answering the door, kind of. Yeah, no, really well done. Out of all the movies though, I think Us had the best acting, in my opinion, by far. Adelaide was done super well done, especially with Red. Everybody was a dual role. Lupita Nyong'o, something like that.
Nyong'o, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Forgive us if that's wrong.
Yeah, could be wrong. Either way, she had the best role. She had the best performance.
I think, yeah. Like, I don't think I can disagree with you, especially in some of the like her monologues as Red, where she's like, again, it's kind of similar to The Maid, where she's crying and also smiling, and then also like telling this very emotional story.
Yeah.
Where like
with the raspiest voice
exactly
ever.
And it's crazy, like it's so different from her natural voice, which is all the more impressive and just makes you appreciate it so much more. And I think her acting as Red is the part where it like just pushes her over the edge.
Oh yeah,
because of, again, that voice she puts on and just the emotions she carries with that character.
And it's even like small things, so such as in Us, when she's Adelaide, I guess, like the grunting when she's attacking people. Yeah, there's a lot of small things. Like, I feel like it's just such a well done role, especially for horror movies.
Oh yeah,
for a horror movie, I should say, not
for a horror movie. Yeah. And then I guess in Nope, moving on from Us, we've talked about Daniel Kaluuya in Nope, but to me, another actor, and I think the one who stands out the most in Nope, is Keke Palmer, who played Emerald. I think, to me, she stood out in that movie a lot, and I really enjoyed her character, and I think Keke Palmer did a great job acting in that character. I don't think it holds up to Lupita Nyong'o, again, but still very well acted. And I think it just goes to show, like, every one of Jordan Peele's movies has great actors and a great cast that, like, there's nobody that falls flat, really. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. No, there's definitely nobody that ever, like, brings the movie down in any way, I'll say that.
Like, there's people that just kind of coast by that don't add a whole lot to the story. They're just there to fulfill their role, get the job done, but they're not a focal point or anything, and I get that. Every movie has that. But they don't, like, stand out as being a shitty character. Yeah. The only character that maybe I can think of off the top of my head is the one girl in Nope, in the tech store. She's like the assistant, not the assistant, but a coworker to, I forget his name, but he's the guy who helps him. Angel, that's Angel. It. She's like a coworker of his. She has a very, very small role, and she's just kind of there a couple times. Maybe her as a character. It's like,
I won't even judge somebody for having like the tiniest role in a movie.
Exactly. That's
it's like
just
whatever.
Nitpicking at this point, and that's the only one that comes to mind. And it, again, doesn't ruin the story because it's such a minor role.
Yeah. The other thing that I kind of want to talk about, if we're done with acting.
Oh yeah.
Other notes about the movie is sound design.
All three movies.
The one that I always draw attention to is Us. And like at the very beginning where they're like zooming out of the rabbits, it has like kind of this Candyman style theme. That's super neat. They have the I Got Five on It remix during the Adelaide fight.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A couple times in the they don't, it's not foreshadowing, I guess, but they do a callback because they're listening to it in the car, singing it like the regular version, and then it gets like revamped with strings and everything. It's like very intense when they're doing the fight with Adelaide and Red, and I love that remix too. It fits so well.
Yeah.
And the way that it's a callback adds an extra, it gives it a boost, I guess.
Yeah.
And overall, I think the sound design for the movies, like, they're good. They do their role, or they feel like
What
they
they
do their
need to.
job.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the focal point of Jordan Peele. Like, he's not trying to get this elaborate
Soundtrack.
track
Yeah.
or anything. No iconic, really, theme songs or anything like a lot of movies try and do. Especially back in the day with classic horror movies. You know, the classic theme songs, Halloween theme song.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But I think it serves its purpose at adding tension when it needs to, and it helps elevate the emotions that you're supposed to feel, I guess. It doesn't it just does what it needs to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is all I can ask for, really.
Okay.
So moving on to like just comparing the movies, I guess, which ones do we rank above each other? For me, it's the order they were released. Get Out, Us. No, sorry, it's not. It's Get Out, Nope, and then Us. Once I started talking, I was like, wait, that's not right. Get Out, Nope, and then Us.
Okay.
But Us and Nope are so close. Actually, all three are so close. It's very hard for me to like put one above the other.
Yeah.
What's your ranking?
My ranking is Us, Get Out, then Nope.
Okay, yeah.
It might be a hot take a little bit, ranking Us above Get Out or pretty much just that.
I think it's more so an unpopular opinion to put Us at the top. I don't know for sure. Like, I haven't seen a ton of ranks, but based on what I hear
It's
people
pretty
talk
much
about
unanimous
Us,
that Get Out should be number one, though, I guess, is the
that's
only
pretty
thing.
I think that's the common opinion. But I guess I'll go over why I rank it the way I did, and then you can do the same.
Okay.
So for me, Get Out is number one by a hair because it's a fresh concept and theme combined that tackle like a serious societal issue, and it does it in a creative way by, like we talked about, a different mind in a different body thing that's not unusual in horror, but the way that they combine it with modern and relevant issues, I think, is such a clever way to do that, to tackle that issue, I guess, and make commentary. And the way that he makes the commentary isn't in your face or like shoving it down your throat or trying to be woke or anything. It just gets the point across and does a very good job at it. And it was kind of the turning point in a sense for modern horror. Like, I don't like the term elevated horror. So many people use that term nowadays, and I think this was one of the first to be considered elevated horror. And I think so much horror nowadays is considered elevated horror. Why isn't it just considered horror? And this was the movie that kind of helped pioneer that.
Yeah.
And that gives it an edge for me just because of the impact it had on the genre as a whole. That's why I rank it number one. Anyways, moving on to the second one being Nope. I think it's second due to how beautifully shot it is and the production all around it. Everything looks so damn good. The cinematography alone is just... I mean, I could watch that movie without any dialogue and just be engaged the whole time because of how it looks.
Yeah.
So that gets a lot of points for me because of that. And like, the theme is a little less impactful. It's not so much a societal commentary as much as the other movies that he's done, but it's still very entertaining and done in a unique way. And it's not your typical alien or UFO movie. He does it differently and tackles it differently. So it's very entertaining and a unique take on the whole alien genre, I guess.
Yeah.
Which to me was a little bit better than Us. Us was still super well done in my opinion, and the only thing I can say about it that drops it down to the bottom of the list for me is when you really stop and think about it, it can kind of take you out of the movie a bit. Like, there's certain things that seem a little convoluted at times, and like, I get it, a lot of movies, there's shit that's just unbelievable. You're just supposed to like suppress your disbelief, and that's the point. And it's not hard for me to do with Us because I still enjoy the movie a lot, but when you can sit and nitpick it like that, I feel like that just drops it down a little bit, in my opinion. And that being said, I also made a point here that the acting was superb, and we talked about how it's probably the best acting in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps it as well, like, move up in ranks. Like, there's different ways to look at it, and for me, it's honestly so close in ranks that I don't even know. Like, you can almost put them all in the exact same tier to me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I have to put something above the other, right? So
yeah,
that's the ranks I come out with, and why I come out with them.
Yeah, and as for mine, like, I kind of get your perspective for Us, but it's just like I had so much fun with the movie. There was a lot of small things that they did so right, such as sound design, acting. I feel like both of those are by far the best of the trilogy, I guess. It was a very unique take on slasher movies, I guess I'd say too. If you want to consider this a slasher movie, anyways.
And that's the thing. Like, most people wouldn't consider it a slasher movie.
Yeah, just because it's so unique
but not even that.
Differently.
But just because it's not your schlocky, campy slasher film.
Yeah,
like, it's not known for being...
It's not Terrifier 2, where you see people just getting gored to death.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or it's not your Michael Myers going around killing random people.
Yeah.
Well, not in Halloween Ends. But
not in Halloween Ends.
We'll probably get to that movie sometime in the near future.
Eventually. But yeah, the slasher movie is done right. Very right, and in so many ways. It takes a step above and beyond. You have a lot of fun with the movie in every way, whether it be plot, whether it be the kills, whether it be like the aftermath of like the whole event that's going on a global pandemic, pretty much. So yeah, it's a show. It's a spectacle. I can't look away from this beauty. Get Out, for obvious reasons. Like, I almost feel bad for putting Get Out like lower than Us, for the main fact that Get Out's, like, I'd still say like probably one of the best movies made in the 2010s, like, in general.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I can't say the same for Us, but I like Us more.
You're more
it's my list. Yeah, pretty much. It had it had very good takes on racism in America, everything like that. You pretty much summed it all up pretty well. Nope, I wasn't the biggest fan of watching the first time around. Don't get me wrong, I liked it. The cinematography was absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I sat around with it a little bit, liked it more. It did have some interesting themes about tragedy and spectacles. So there was that going for it. But did I like it more than Us and Get Out? Definitely not.
That's fair.
That's the main thing that I'd say.
Yeah. And I guess just to wrap up our comparisons, opinions about it, like, I think our ratings... Well, should we do our ratings?
We'll do our ratings first, sure.
Yeah, might as well do our ratings. For me, Get Out, I'll rank a 9.
Okay.
Us, I'll rank a 7. And Nope, I'll rank a 7.5.
Okay. My rankings are Us is 10, Get Out is also 10, and Nope is 8.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Both of them 10s.
Both of them 10s. Like, they're both stunning movies. Get Out, easy 10. Us is a 10 for me, and I completely understand if people disagree.
Yeah, and it's all subjective. It's all what we think and what our own experiences are with it. So there's no wrong answer. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But let's quickly go through some of the Darwin Award nominees for each movie, I guess.
Yes.
So we'll start with Get Out. First nominee, we got to nominate Rose for handing over the gun to, I guess, her grandpa, the the caretaker, like whatever
Yeah.
body you want to
handing the gun over.
Yeah, handing
You
the
could
gun over
probably-
to him
yeah.
after the flash was
Yeah,
taken.
she can probably see the flash. Like, let's
Oh,
not
for sure.
mistake that.
Because, yeah, after the flash is taken, she knows that already, like, clicks. It kind of removes the hypnotizing
Especially
of them.
since, like, you've seen that kind of happen in a previous scene. Like, she was
Exactly.
there. She should, like, at least
should
know
connect
something's
it.
up.
Exactly.
She should be able to connect the dots.
Yes. And so handing a gun over to somebody that was just, I guess, turned back to themselves was a stupid move for sure. Second Darwin Award nominee is Chris for trusting Rose after seeing the pictures of her with other black people when she said that she never dated other black people.
Yeah, she never dated other black
This
people.
is the first time her family's meeting her black boyfriend. Like, you know, that's all clearly a lie after he sees those pictures. And for him to continue to go on trusting her, sure, he was a little bit leery about it, but, like, you should ask more questions about that.
Yeah, because, like, he sees the pictures in the closet, and then he doesn't just, like, jump through the window. That's the thing. It's just, like, he trusts Rose, and, like, yeah, Rose, you have those keystones, like, right beside Rose, expecting, like, Rose is going to give him the keys.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's just basically desperation, or, like, he knows that Rose isn't going to give him the keys, but pretty much the main thing is, I think it boils down to just Rose being Darwin winner, right?
I would say Rose wins because Chris
is put into an uncomfortable situation, especially
and he's also outnumbered.
Yeah, and not to mention you also built a relationship with somebody for like 6 months.
Yeah, it's kind
so it
of
has
like,
an emotional toll on him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like it's similar to like an abusive relationship where, yeah, you know they're doing something wrong, but you still love the person, so you want to keep going back.
You still want to have faith in them that they are a good person,
exactly.
right?
So that's why I think Rose takes the cake for this one because, yeah, it was just a straight up dumb move, and she died because of it.
Yeah. On to us.
Us, yep. Do you want to go through these nominees?
Yeah, I'll go through these ones. First, we have 2 for this one. First of all, we're going to talk about Adelaide's father for not watching Adelaide closer at the amusement park.
Yeah, when she was a little kid, his wife, her mom, Adelaide's mom, specifically said, keep an eye on her, I just need to go use the washroom or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, I got it. And then he immediately goes and starts playing a game.
Like
without
whack-a-mole or something like that?
Yeah. And then he's clearly not watching her. She walks off on her own, gets lost in the house of mirrors or whatever. And yeah, he just straight up doesn't do what he's supposed to do as a father and also as he was instructed.
Yeah.
So, dumb move.
Going on to the second nominee is Gabe's double Abraham for driving the boat to kill Gabe when he could have just done the job any number of ways. Like, he had the baseball bat, he could have just bashed his brains in, but instead he decides to wrap him up in a plastic bag and like take him on a boat.
Out in the water when he could have just killed him while he was covered in the plastic bag too, while he was knocked out. Like, there's many ways he could have got the job done. Yep. And he just ultimately died for really no reason.
Pretty much.
So, the winner for this one, I don't know. This is a tough one for me, but I don't know. I want to give it to Adelaide's father.
I want to give it to Gabe.
Do you?
The reason I want to give it to Gabe is just so much easier to just double tap. And in every horror movie you watch, people that don't double tap almost automatically deserve to be on Darwin Award
But at
list.
the same time, being a dad and just clearly not watching your daughter at all, especially after getting the reminder to watch her, is like straight up just stupid.
Bad parenting. Like, don't become a parent if you can't look after your children.
Exactly.
Right?
But in in Abraham's case, Gabe's doppelganger, Abraham is clearly stupid. Like, it's like he's part of the tethered, so he's underground. He has no sort of education. He can barely speak.
Yeah.
He makes grunting noises.
Yeah.
And he's clearly not like developed brain-wise.
Yeah.
So I can't fault him as much as like a normal competent human being like the father.
Yeah.
So him not killing him one way and thinking, oh, this way will be better, I kind of get it. It's still a stupid move, but he might not have the brain power to understand how stupid of a move it was.
I'll give you that. I'll say Adelaide's father for that reason.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just like, why would anybody go to that extreme? Just double tap. Always just double tap.
I mean, they're both stupid moves, and like I said, it was a hard pick for me too. I just think because he's more competent, Adelaide's father gets a little bit of an edge for me.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to
for Nope. We got 3 nominees for this one. So we got Jupe for thinking he could control and capitalize on an alien life form. And then we got Antlers. He's the director that was trying to help them get the money shot. And speaking of money shot, he gets the nominee for sacrificing himself to try and get said money shot. And then Angel for randomly popping up into OJ's and Emerald's life, illegally viewing their webcams after he supplied it to them, and like them specifically telling him not to because they didn't want any help from him. Yeah. And then he gives shit customer service and also expects 5 stars from them after giving them shit service. So he gets a nomination for that. I'll tell you right now, I don't think Angel wins it, but he definitely needs to be acknowledged for it.
Yeah, no, we'll start with Angel first. Like, he's just the kind of person that you just hate to be around, like, retail, because, like, it's either he wants to be too involved or isn't involved enough for you as a customer purchasing his products.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. He's more annoying than stupid, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the main thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, between Jupe and Antlers, who do you think? Like, they're both dumb, because Antlers straight up sacrifices himself to try and get the money shot.
Yeah.
But does he know what he's doing? Does he know he's gonna die and this money shot's
like
gonna come
planned?
around?
And like that's the thing. If it's planned, if he knows he's gonna die from it, like
then it's not
like,
a stupid move. Like as stupid as Jupe's, it's still dumb to try and do.
Oh yeah.
But does he think?
But like
that
he
he's
just knows
survive?
the consequences. Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll assume he's not gonna survive. So I feel like that just narrows it down to Jupe thinking he can control like an alien life form. And like he's like so like for example in the Gordy scene, he was focused on the shoe just like pointing like upwards or something like that.
It was just like an anomaly, like once in a lifetime ever, like not even once in a lifetime, once in like 10 lifetimes that could happen. And I think it was just a
and like that's the thing, like everyone was looking the monkey in the eyes.
Yes.
And whatchamacallit, he was looking at the shoe, so that's why the monkey like trusted him.
Yeah. And then when he did get a chance to look at the monkey, there was that tablecloth or whatever, some sort of sheer thing over top. So like when Gordy went to fist bump him, like there was that tablecloth, so he couldn't make direct eye contact. There was a shield almost. So he did look at Gordy, but because of that, it wasn't like direct eye contact. Yeah. So he probably survived because of that, and because he didn't make direct eye contact, he didn't antagonize Gordy. Gordy did go in for that fist bump, and that helped him survive. And he thought he was invincible because of that. He survived. He survived this major tragedy. Why can't he survive this and capitalize on this, UFO coming around? And
pretty much he loved to due to basically sheer luck when he thought it was basically all just about him.
Exactly. He thought he could control it when it was really just him getting lucky.
Yeah. So I guess we give it to Jupe there.
Definitely. So overall, we talked about our thoughts on the movie. We talked about the production of all of his movies. Jordan Peele as a director. We're super excited to see what he does next. And, like, pretty much we're going to be excited for every movie. He has yet to fail us, really.
Yeah.
Even Nope, if that's your least favorite. Like, you can't say it's a bad movie. You had to sit with it for a while. But
I'd enjoy watching Nope again.
Yeah, to get us a different perspective, I guess, after seeing other things about it. I did enjoy it the first time watching it, and I do want to go back and rewatch it as well. But yeah, all these movies I could definitely just turn on and rewatch. Not every fucking week or anything, but like, once a year, I'm sure I could watch these and not get sick of them.
Oh yeah, so of course.
They're definitely worth watching, and we recommend them. Jordan Peele as a director, keep your eye out on anything else he releases. But with that out of the way, we wrapped up our drinking games. We wrapped up the drinks we made. Went through the movies. Like, there's nothing else to say. So we're gonna sign off. And thanks for tuning in. This is us saying cheers to fears.